The Wilderness Within You, the 19th day, the third Sunday in Lent. We have two readings from the Bible, and the first is from Luke 2, verses 36 to 37. I'm reading from the New International Version of the Bible. There was also a prophet, Anna, the daughter of Penuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was very old. She had lived with her husband 7 years after her marriage, and then was a widow until she was 84. She never left the temple, but worshipped night and day, fasting and praying. Then from the Gospel of Matthew, the 4th chapter, the first 4 verses, again from the New International Version. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." I think if I'd realised I was going to be spending so much time with Jesus this Lent, I might have thought a bit harder about practicing some kind of Lenten discipline, giving something up or cutting something out. It's all a bit late for that now. I never really got the point of fasting, I say, as we walked down the steep hill to the sea after church and crossed the road to go along the prom. I'm not sure this is an entirely good idea because the wind is freezing. Jesus has his shoulders hunched against the cold, and he's wearing a rough woolen extra thing like a shawl or a blanket. I should think he needs it. He turns his face towards me, and the brown skin has a bloom of cold on it. He looks pinched and chilled. "Why don't we go into Plenty for a coffee?" He nods gratefully at this suggestion, so that's what we do. I have a cappuccino, and Jesus has the biggest mug of hot chocolate they do. That answers one question then. Jesus doesn't give up chocolate for Lent. "Are you hungry?" I ask him. "Would you like a piece of cake too?" Yes, he would. Watching Jesus dispatch a hefty slab of excellent carrot cake reminds me of my original thought. Fasting, I say. What's the point? "There's no point in fasting," says Jesus. I feel my eyebrows lifting in surprise. "Excuse me," he adds. He was speaking with his mouth full. "Would you like to explain that to me?" I ask him. He looks warmer and more relaxed now. He wraps his hands round the mug of chocolate. "Fasting is only to allow you to concentrate, to clear the ground for something else," he says. "It makes you more clear-headed, more focused. If you're fasting for some medical reason, it's to remove the complication of the digestive process, to let the physician get a better picture, or give a fever the chance to subside. If you're fasting for prayer, it's to allow yourself to become entirely centred on the Father, eye to eye, no distractions. If you're fasting for some special intention or intercession, it permits a total one-pointed application of your soul, staying there, holding on, until you achieve what you've set out to do. He drinks some of his chocolate. It sets you free too, he adds, if you can fast and wait and pray. It's harder for circumstances to jerk you around. Physical appetite can get to be something of an idol, keeping your attention when there are really more important things to be doing. But other than that, there's no point in fasting at all. If you can get to the place where all you are is completely focused on the Father, there's no need to fast anymore. Self-denial, this is starting to be a confession now, has never been my strong point. I get tired and discouraged so easily. Being warm and having something nice to eat, sleeping in a comfy bed and curling up with a hot drink to watch a programme on the telly. Well, I know it shouldn't matter to me as much as it does, but these are the things that keep me going. I'm not really cut out for self-denial. Jesus nods. Yep, he says, that's what self-denial means. I think of him in the desert. Was it freezing cold at night? Did the wind blow relentlessly, like today? I think of him persevering until he was famished, bringing his entire being to focus in one pointed attention on the voice of the Father in his heart, calling him, guiding him, preparing him. I think of the sly tempting of the devil, the suave, suggestive voice, talking to him about stones that look almost like bread. If you are the Son of God, all you need to do is tell these stones, bread, bread, bread. What must it be like to live with such power, to practice such forbearance? I tell you what, I say, if it had been me out there in the desert being tempted by Satan, he wouldn't have had to ask me twice. And if I'd gone 40 days and 40 nights with nothing to eat, I wouldn't have stopped at anything half as abstemious as bread. Not me. I'd have turned those stones into cream doughnuts, a whole big plateful. Jesus looks at me thoughtfully. Yes, he says, I can believe it.